Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, J Fallon, and I've got a story to share. This came in from a listener, fellow ex former former police officer with the Queensland Police Service. I'll leave a couple of details out just for some reasons, but I'll share this story for you. He said that this story was actually also in the newspaper a couple of years ago. So this actually happened to him. He says, "Good day, g'day, fellow ex-officer. Quick story. I was doing a stint at the academy in such and such a year as an all-round facilitator. During scenario training, one female recruit, approximately 5 foot nothing, and of Russian background, had to redo a scenario as she failed the first time around. Scenario was two men arguing at the front of the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, and she had to go sort it out. I think I vaguely remember a similar kind of scenario when I was at the academy there somewhere. Both role players started to push each other. What does the recruit do? She walks over, is talking to them, but you could hardly hear her. There's nil presence. Then stands in the middle of them both and starts talking to one guy with her back to the other, which is is a huge, huge no-no. You do, crikey. Anyway, so she's got one guy she's looking at, got her back to the other guy. So keep in mind, he says, that she hasn't even determined who the aggressor was yet. I yell out, pause, which is exactly what you do when you're a training facilitator. I pulled her aside and said, "You are now choked out by the guy that you have your back to and have left your partner to deal with this on his own. I will have to deem you not yet competent. Distance equals safety," I told her. As an OST instructor trained in AAO, rifle, firearms, taser, etc., I would do exactly the same to an officer who was requalifying every year. That's a pretty bad safety breach. I do concur. Very bad safety breach. Anyway, so next day rolls round, he says. I get called up to the senior sergeant of training. I can't remember this person's name. It was something, he says. So this senior sergeant says to me, Did you fail this recruit yesterday? I explained the reasons why. And I said I would do the same thing in the districts. The senior sergeant, she says to me, I've spoken to this recruit, the female recruit, and I've told her what her faults were, and she won't have to reset the scenario. I was thinking to myself, WTF am I doing here then? They are breezing these recruits through. Listen, I just wanted to share this story because I thought this is exactly the problem that's happening with QPS, and they are in denial. They are like an Egyptian crocodile, living in denial if they think that this is not going to come back to bite them in the butt. You cannot just make allowances. This senior sergeant has placed this female recruit in danger. If she wasn't able to pass a simple scenario like that, if she didn't have to resit it, all she's done is placed her in danger. It might not happen right then, might not happen straight out of the academy, but it will actually happen. Put aside the fact that it sounds like she's actually very tiny. You need to be able to resit. You need to be able to show that you are competent in these things. You're learning to deal with deadly situations. You cannot just, I've spoken to them and they'll be all right now. The problem with this kind of action, taking this kind of action, is if you haven't done it and had it drilled into you and gone over the scenario again and again, so you are definitely competent and you remember what you're doing. You get into a situation, stress levels are high, or you feel the vision starts to narrow down. You lose sight of everything else going around you because of the adrenaline rushing. You lose sight of everything else goes on. You get so focused on what's directly in front of you. You tend to forget all other things. That's just what happens when you're under pressure and when you've got things. And that, those scenarios that they run in QPS, there's always still that sense of safety because in the back of your mind, you know that this isn't a real scenario. Like they try and make it real. They try and show that aggression and give you a taste of how it could be out in the real world. But mate, once you're out in the real world and you've got a couple of people who are just. I went to, let's put it this way. So I went to a job once. I can't even remember why I was called there, but I had to go and see this chap. Now this guy's just gotten out of jail. I think he'd been in there for 5 years. So it wasn't like just a little stint. 5 years. So I get there, and I think it might have been uh, an art an RTP. I think it might have been that because he wasn't happy. So I think that's what it was. Anyway, so I've gone in, I've seen him, I'm just talking. He's standing there, and there's a bench in between us. I'm just talking, explaining, hey, this is what's happened. I'm going to have to, I'm placing you under arrest where you're going to return to prison. And I'm just trying to keep it casual, easy breezy, as I do. And I'm looking, and then I see his eyes dart to the knife that's on the bench. Like I'm looking at him, he's straight across to me. To my right, to his left, there's a knife sitting on the bench, probably equal distance between the two of us. I see his eyes dart to the knife. I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. My split second thought is jumps for the knife. I could pull back, reach for the gun. But as soon as he did it, I was like, no, no. So I jump. We both jump for the knife. I grab his arm, grab his hand, stop him from having the knife, grab the knife out, and pull back. Now, that's not something I would recommend. The guy was probably about my size. He was solid. He'd been in jail for a couple of years, so he'd been working out. The lad was solid as, but he was a little shorter than me. My point is, if you're a 5 foot nothing female, I wouldn't recommend that scenario. And the other thing is, I thought about my options. I could have done that. I thought, no, no, I backed myself. I'll do that. And I'd also considered, well, the bench is in front of us. Even if he got the knife, I can push back, take some other action. I backed myself. I did that, whatever. And then once I grabbed it and I had his hand, I think I just held him and I said, lad, you know, this is happening. So you got to make it easy on yourself. And then he's like, you feel him like, okay, release the stress. My point is, when you're in that scenario, you've got to be able to think quickly. You got to be able to think under pressure. And when the adrenaline's pumping and your focus goes down, you get like that pinhole vision, like, you know, you can't just be like ignoring someone. This senior sergeant has placed her in danger because if she cannot think clearly under pressure, she's just going to put herself in danger and her fellow officer in danger. And then because of that, you're placing other people. Okay, with the chap that I had the little wrestle with the knife for, um, I don't think I even put it in my. I just returned him to prison. Whatever. He's going back to prison anyway. I'm not going to charge him or do anything else with him. Whatever. He was going back. He had his one little thought of, oh, can I get out of it? Nah. My point is, someone else, if you're not thinking, they would have jumped back, pulled the gun, bang, bang, shot him, and then they could say, well, justified. He's running for the knife. The knife was right there. Nothing else could do. He had the knife. I shot him. So you're putting everyone's life at risk. You're putting the little girl's life at risk. You're putting the other person's life at risk because you're putting someone in the field who cannot handle pressure, who cannot think under pressure, who's too small to deal with situations if you have to actually wrestle or fight, get physical. So then your only option is to go for lethal force. And this is what I've been talking about for so long now. It's driving me nuts. When Shane Price says, hey, come in because, you got lifestyle and money, you will get people who just want lifestyle and money. And when they lower the standards and just allow people to go in who shouldn't be in, when they cannot handle the pressure and the only option they have is to jump for the Glock, well, then that's what they are forced to do because they can't fight, because they're not big enough. They're wrestling guys who are, 180 centimeters and 80, 90, 100 kilos. They can't deal with it. So then they go for the Glock. And you can't blame them. They have to go for the Glock. But the problem is they shouldn't have been in the police service in the first place. My goodness. If there's any other police, ex-police, who have stories like this, I have received other stories, and some of them I'm like, I'm not sure I can actually share them. But if you've got a story that you think, you can actually share, it would be interesting. I want people to understand this isn't necessarily. We've had a lot of police shootings over the last couple of years. Okay, police shooting the public. I don't think this is just because of the police officer on the ground. This is due to the lack of training and how the police hierarchy, their decision making. They've decided they will allow people in who are not fit to actually serve, who 10 years ago, 20 years ago would not have even made it because of their size, because of their skill level, because they cannot handle pressure, because they would actually fail scenarios and they'd actually have the guts to fail people when they should be failed. It's if you can't make it through, you can't make it through. You don't get a pass at everything in life. This is the problem with our society today. But this is what happens when you decide that, we want diversity and we'll just allow people through because we want, 50-50 numbers. We want this amount of female recruits. So instead of just getting the best, we'll just take everyone because we've set ourselves a target and we have to hit that target. And, be damned if we put them at risk and we put the public at risk, as long as we get our percentage right. This is what happens. You're putting everyone's life in danger. That senior sergeant, in my mind, if anything happens, if this female recruit, now officer, I'm assuming, is involved in something and, she fatally shoots someone or she gets injured, that senior sergeant should be charged with something. She should be kicked out. That's just my opinion. Hey, if there are any ex-officers out there who want to tell me, share a story to me, give us a shout out, let me know. You can get my email on the YouTube channel. It's all there, homepage. My name's J Fallon, former police officer with Queensland Police Service. Thank you for listening.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's going